Alright, K family, welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you guys can hear me. On today's video, quick little video, we're going to be talking about the Megan Racing lowering springs for your 8th, 9th gen Civics. We're also going to be talking a little bit on the Truehart Sport shocks. So stay tuned guys, watch the entire video. Alright guys, little backstory. This is a 07 Civic LX. I swapped full SI springs and shocks into this vehicle. It handled way better, but it didn't really do much for the ride height. So I decided it was time to actually get a proper setup. I've ran coilovers on this vehicle before. I've ran lowering springs from different companies such as Eibach, H&R, and clearly Megan Racing. And I have a little bit of feedback for people looking to buy lowering springs, specifically these. On this video, we're going to be focusing on the Megan Racing ones that lower your vehicle about 1.5 inches front and rear. So I don't think I have to kid anybody. The fitment on this with the lowering springs is pretty good. The ride height is just perfect. If you look at it, I wouldn't expect anything less or anything more. Just perfection. I love the fitment. The rear is not sagging like some of these suspension manufacturers have the rear still sagging more than the front, which is complete bullshit. And if manufacturers are making springs like that, or even from factory, a lot of cars from factory are coming out like that. I don't want to point names, but a lot of Lexuses come with the rear sagging, which is definitely unattractive. But the ride height is great, I'll give you that. I'll give the ride height pretty much a 10 out of 10 for the Megan Racing lowering springs. Now let's move into comfort. Talk about comfort right now. The comfort of these Megan Racing springs, I would also give pretty much, for a daily driver, I'd give them 10 out of 10 as well. They are fantastic. They absorb bumps well. They are very soft. The springs are progressive, so they get stiffer as you approach a corner. And let me show you guys a little bit of the springs right there. The springs, again, they're progressive. They do a really good job driving, daily driving, absorbing bumps and whatnot. And I love it. It's very comfortable. So again, to sum it up right now, in short, we got a good stance and a comfortable ride. But the question comes to play. How do they perform when you're driving them a little bit more aggressively? Well guys, in my experience and comparing it to the other setups that I have ran, I am not a fan of how these handle vehicle load and fast driving characteristics where you're bouncing the weight of the vehicle from left to right. I feel like these springs are still too soft for an enthusiast that is gonna go, let's say, track their vehicle, you know, drive it aggressively. I still feel like they need work. The spring rates, again, are not as stiff as they need to be, especially with this progressive design. Now, I've driven 8th gen Civic with linear spring rates, meaning they're always a steady, similar spring rate. They don't adjust, they're not progressive, and that car handles like on rails compared to this car, which is, again, it's multi-purpose, dual purpose, which is great, but again, it's just missing the edge of the enthusiast driver. Now I want to compare these springs to like the H&Rs I've ran, the Eibachs I've ran. I want to compare them to the coilovers I ran, but here's the thing, I've ran different wheel setups in a lot of my vehicles. So even though I try to compare the springs and the performance of the vehicle, it's not fair because different wheel setups, different vehicle fitment, different wheel fitments, different tire fitments is gonna affect the driving characteristics of the car. So I'm trying to strictly judge these spring rates compared to other spring rates, not factoring in the different wheel setups that I've had. But in conclusion guys, sum it up, again, this is a quick video. If you guys want more content on the 8th gen, you got to subscribe to the channel, help me grow here. But in conclusion, if you're looking for springs that are just a daily driver, I think these are going to be fantastic for you. They're cheap. They're a lot cheaper than most other springs on the market. My buddy ran Megan Racing too on his vehicle. He had coilovers. It's a decent company, guys. Again, for a daily driver, that drop right there is beautiful. Daily drivability of these is amazing. Very, very comfortable. Again, just that hard cornering, that's when you'll notice too much lean. Some days I actually feel like the SI springs that come factory were more stiffer than the Megan Racing. I don't know if that's true or not. I have to look up the spring rates, but overall I'm happy with them. Again, I got these springs and shocks used for $100, so you can't complain. And these shocks are dedicated Truehart shocks for lowering springs. They have a shorter shock body, which is beneficial when you lower your vehicle. So in a combo, they all work well together. If I was to pick a spring, I would like a spring that's a little softer on cornering, because again, I like to have higher spring rates entering corners, just so you get a better feel for the vehicle and you can wiggle the car around and it'll be stabilized. But overall, guys, I do recommend them. Again, Truehart shocks, let's get into that real quick. They're pretty good. Lifetime warranty, short shock body. Short shock body, lifetime warranty. You can't go wrong with them. Highly recommend them. Didn't have any problems with them. You can't adjust the dampening, unfortunately, but if you're running any kind of lowering spring and shock combo, this is definitely a good pick for the shock. Highly recommend it. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. Gotta go to work, fight some COVID patients. So stay tuned, subscribe. We'll see you on the next video. Peace.
I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it all for you. Come along and see it's true, but the world is pretty cold. You might need a